I am going to cover the incremental one. So before going to just close this one, I am going to cover the incremental. So what is the incremental one? Okay, I think we have seen in the lookup the different task, right? In the lookup we have seen the different way, and here we are seeing the different way. I'll show you what we have seen in the lookup normally. Let's say I got a data source. In the source I am having a table. The table is having ID, name. Let's say it is having ID, name, ID 1 2 3. Like that I am having up to 10 million records, 10 million IDs and 10 million names. Okay, now my manager asked me to load the data into destination. This destination is also having ID and name. Okay, so what my purpose is that I need to load, let's say not 10 million, 100 million record. I need to load this 100 million record from source to destination. Done. So I got 10 million, 100 million records. So what I will be doing, I will be loading all the 100 million records into a destination. So total number of records will be 100 million. So let's say if I want to load the 100 million from source to destination, 100 million. So there is some name. I loaded them, and the total time took is 1 hour. Okay, the total time took for the execution for moving the data from source to destination, it's 1 hour. Done. Okay, so next I got 100 million 1th record. Okay, there is one more record inserted into the database. There is one more record inserted. What is my, and again my manager asked me to update the source data, because the source data and the destination data is not up to date, right? Because source data you got one record, in the destination you got 100 million. So this one record is missing in the destination, right? So now if my manager asks what I need to do, I need to load this one record. Is there any scenario? No. So in order to load this one record, what you need to do? Either there is two chances to update the destination data with the source data. You can do it in two ways. First way, truncate destination. Truncate, I'll just write it here. Truncate destination, that is the one way, and truncate destination and load data from source to destination. So in the step 1 there are two steps, A and B. Load data from source to destination. This is one way. Other way, I think we discussed in the lookup. Get data from the source, A. Get data from the source. Second one, B. Look that data from the source is there in the destination or not. Is there in, just I am writing DEST, destination or not. So what is the step C? If source data is in destination, if the source data is in destination, then don't do anything. Don't do anything. Else, if it is not there, then insert. I am just writing here, don't do anything, else insert them. This is the thing I want. So you can do it in two ways. So if I got 100 million and one record, so I need to truncate the data in the destination and again reload the data from source to destination. That is the one way I can do. Other way is that while getting the data from the source, see whether that ID, let's say the ID is a primary key, whether that ID is there in the destination or not. If the ID is there in the destination, you will not do anything. If the ID is not there, then you will insert that one. So actually you need to get only one record, but you are getting 100 million records again and again. So because of this, Whenever you want to load the data, the time is 1 hour. Even though if you want to load the full data, even if you want to load only the record that has been added here, it is like 1 hour, right? So it's a waste of process. Let's say it's 100 million, and instead of loading 100 million, if I load only this one record, it might take only like few seconds, few milliseconds, not seconds also, seconds to get only this one record. Okay, so when we get one record, automatically we can load into a destination instead of getting this 100 million records another. Is there any way? Normally in this scenario there is no way. When I have just have ID and name, and I have in the destination ID and name, so I load the data from source to destination, done, that's it. In this scenario, I need to follow any one of the way from these two. In these two, because if I want to load the data, truncate and delete is the best one. Instead of getting the data and do them, search them, and if the data is matched, then update it, like it's again the main thing. Okay, so that's it. This is the best way to do if you want to load the huge data, but it takes 1 hour. In the companies, they don't wait for 1 hour. If you have like 100 process, if you have 100 tables, if you want to load 100 tables, then it might take 100 hours, right? So no one doesn't need that. For this purpose, normally whenever you want to do a incremental, so you should have some common step, like I got the source table ID and name, right? And I'll have a destination table ID and name. So in the source table, I should also have inserted date. That's it. Okay, so when I got 1 2 3 4 5 6 something up to 100 millionth record, I got some name, so everything has some date. I loaded the data into the destination. Okay, I loaded the whatever the data I got, I loaded into destination. So I loaded it when today, let's say I loaded it on 8/12/2014. Okay, now what happens? Tomorrow there will be one more 100 millionth record, something. I don't know how to represent 100 millionth one record plus 1. Okay, so I'll have name something, insert the date will be tomorrow's date, right? 8/13/2014. Now what is my scenario here? When I come and load the data, I should load the data because already I have loaded up to today's date, that is data, that is 8/12/2014. So instead of getting this prior data, I just want to load the data which is after this date. Okay, I just want to get load the data which is after this. So just select star from source table and where inserted date is greater than this date. So automatically you will get only one record and you will just insert one record. So here in this scenario, you need to store this date also, because so today I have loaded this one record. So that date extracted, my extracted date will be 8/13/2014. And if tomorrow, if someone comes and he adds a second record, sorry, it's a day after tomorrow, then this is my last extract time, right? Then I should get the records which are loaded after my last extract time. I should get the records which are inserted after my last extract time. So now you will be just getting this record. So let's say previously it took 1 hour to load all the records. When you do the incremental, it may take only few seconds, sometimes few milliseconds. Okay, so this is the way you are how you are going to do the incremental. So now we will go and see the incremental one. I'll just open database. I'll just close this. So which database is this? No. Test, new query. I'll just create a table. Create table. Observe carefully and listen carefully. I'll just create a table as SRC. SRC is some name, and I'll give it as ID. Name as varchar. Done. Okay, in the test database one, let's say let's assume that both are on different servers. Okay, I'll create one more table called DEST name. One more table called DEST name. Okay, I got it. So now what I'll do, I'll insert values into the source. I'll just write a command, insert command here. Oh, sorry, in insert I want to add one more column called inserted date. Inserted date time. I'll have one more column called update date time also. Why I need update is that sometimes the people, instead of inserting, they update the name also, or like this. Okay, so I'll just copy this one. Done. So now I'll keep a default for update and insert date time. If nothing is been inserted, then I'll change it. Okay, default. Get date. I'll just copy this. I'll just paste it here also. Done. Okay, now we are going to see another way. Now how we are going to, so now I'll just insert two records. Just insert two records. Select, sorry, insert into src name, I'll give our value as 101 comma name as some a. That's it, because already the IDs are in it's a default value, right? It's okay, nothing to worry. Next I'll give it as b. So I'll insert two values now. Okay, I'll just insert two value. Column or supply value does not match. Oh, give it here ID comma name. Done. Now when I insert, automatically the record will be inserted. So what I'll be doing now, select star from src name. Do it. When I do this, now I'll get two records, because I have given default. Even though I insert a value, it will show the time also here. Okay, my first scenario is that, and I'll create one more table which will store the last extract time. I'll create a table. Okay, create table. I'll name it as LKP. LKP means lookup last extract time something, and I want to have multiple things. I want to have the name, varchar 100, 1000 or something. I want to have the value. It is a varchar. I can store it in a varchar. It's not a big deal. So my thing is that I'll be storing a last extract date time. So I'll insert value, insert into LKP last extract time, values. I'll give the name as something source name, load source name something. We'll normally give the names accordingly. Value I'll be giving as some date. Let's say we'll start the values from the beginning date, maybe 2001-01. Just we'll give some default values. Okay, we'll store that value. That's it, nothing to worry about that. Done. Now what I am going to do I need to create a table? Okay, I've created a table. Yeah, done. That's it. So now I need to create a table with the destination also. I'll create a table with the destination created. Now what is my first scenario is that from the package. So I'll just close this package. No, anything whatever may be. Oh, view solution explorer. Yeah, I'll create a new package. I'll name it as some incremental one. Okay. So the first thing what we need to get the last extract time from the package. Okay. The first thing is that we need to get the last extract time from the package. So what is the last extract time we need to get? So for that purpose, first I'll use execute SQL task. Click on this. I'll name this as, it is execute SQL task. I'll just write it as SQL space. SQL is that naming standard. You can write whatever you want according to it. Some people they write it as XCT, XST, means execute SQL task. So whatever, first it will have some standard. Later on, whatever name you want to give, you can give. If I want, it depends on the company. The companies want some certain standards to name each and every task. So in the previous company wherever they use a standard called SQL. In other company they used ESQL. Okay, they should have the every execute SQL task should have the name ESQL as a prefix, and after that you can have any name like this. It is a company standard. So I'll just ESQL. Okay, after that I'll name it like get last load date time. Okay, last load done. So now here I'll go to the connection, click on this new connection. It is there in the database, right? It is there in the test database. Click OK. Now I'll write a query here. Select statement. What query I'll be writing? So select. It is a value from LKP last extract date time, where name equal to load src name. That's it. Now if I execute, then I'll get the date, right? I got it. Okay, I got the date. Control C, done. So now what I am going to do, just go to the execute SQL statement. I'll get the name. Okay, done. So what I want to capture that last extract date time into the variable. So click on this, go to the variable. I'll add a variable here. I'll add a variable called last extract time. That's it. And I'll give the data type as varchar. I'll give data type as varchar. It is a simple thing. String, here we call it as string, right? Just I'll give string, done. So now what I'll go, just click on this. See, I'm getting the output as value column, right? So I need to map that value column into the last extract variable. So for that purpose, it returns only one record. So I'll just go to the result set and select single row. Now go to the result set, add the column name that I am getting is a value column name. So it is a short name. It's value. I want to load it into the last extract time. That's it, done. So now I have loaded. After this, what I want to do, I'll just drag a data flow task. Click on this. We are going to worry about the data flow task now. So whatever you want, you will write a logic. After this, I need to update the last extract date time, right? I need to update the last extract date time. So here I'll write we are given standard, right? ESQL. I'll write update last extract date time. That's it. Okay, last extract date time, done. So now I'll go here, I'll select the connectors. It is in the same database. Click here. So I'll write an update command. Update LKP last extract time set value equal to question mark. See here now, what should be the value? Let's say this is my scenario. There might be multiple cases here. Okay, so if I've started the package, this is my big package. Yeah, 1 minute, sorry. So let's say I got a package here and just clicking cancel. I got a package and I have started the package at 8:50 p.m. and 25 seconds. Okay, and next I ended the package at 8:50:30, or you can say 8:58 and 30 seconds. So it is like after 8 minutes, it took 8 minutes to execute the package. So which time will you take as a last extract time? Can anyone say here? If I start a package at 8:50:25 seconds and I ended the package at 8:58:30 seconds, so what will be the best time for me to select as a last extract time? Hello?
No.
Hello? Dhanalakshmi?
Hello. Yeah, sir.
Which will be the best time? See, now I have loaded the package. This is a time, okay? So this is a 2 times. This is my start time and this is my end time, okay? Next time when I start the package, which time I need to use?
8:50.
Why?
We were starting from that time.
Exact. You are starting from that time. So that's why you will be using the 8:50 only, right? So now, so in order to get that start time in the package, so just I'll go here, paste it. So sorry, not this one. I need to copy this one. Yeah, update one. Control C. I am giving question mark here. Okay, you can see I am giving question mark. Done. I'll just delete this and paste it. I have given question mark. So in the question mark, I'll pass a value from the parameter mapping. Add it. So which one I will be giving now? There is a parameter called system start time. System package start time, something. Yeah, system start time. That's it. Whenever you start the package, that time will be stored. That is the start time of the package. So data type will be, I'll just give the string data type or varchar. That's it. I'll name the parameter as 0. Okay, done. Okay, now I am updating the package. So I get the start time. Once it is executed, I am updating here. So in the execution task, now you will be writing that one. Just take the OLEDB source. But since it is a full load, right? I am not doing anything. Since it is a full load, we can do it in a different way. I'll show you. I'll go to the, yeah, we'll do something. OLEDB source. Another is a OLEDB destination. OLEDB destination, done. So I'll connect with the source. So in the source, what table I should have here? Just click on this. Give the connection as test. The table will be src underscore name. See, src underscore name. If I see the data, I'll have the record. See, okay. What is the destination table? It is a dest underscore name. Done it. That's it. Go to the mapping. You got it here. But if I do this way, what happens? I'll get all the records from the source. But from the source, I want to filter the records based on this insert date time. So how you need to pass that. You are loading that last extract date time, right? You need to pass that last extract date time to this source. So how to pass this? I'll just write SQL command. So I'll just write select. So we can write a command here in this one. So this is my table. The table is here, right? src name. So I'll just write here select star from src name where inserted date or updated date. So basically, when the record is inserted, both inserted and update date time will be same. Okay. When the record is updated, then insert date time is the same. See, this is a scenario. In the companies, they will have this way. This column, the source table will have the inserted date and updated date. Okay. So if I have the record ID and name, ID is 1 and name is A. So inserted date and updated date will be same when I inserted a record. And when I update the data, when I update this A to B, I will not touch the inserted, just I will touch the updated one only. So that's why I need to filter on the updated. Sometimes instead of having the inserted and updated, you might have one column, changed date, which is inserted and updated. Like you may have something like changed. So currently here I am having the inserted and update, right? You may just have the changed data, ID, name and changed. change date something. So if I got IDA, so the date is something, today's date. Okay. If I change the record, if I change this record to B, tomorrow I have changed the record from A to B. So what happens? It will have the tomorrow's date. Okay. So like this, instead of having two columns, you might have one column also. So I'll just select on update one. Since I'm having two columns, I'll just select where update date. Yeah, done. Update date equal to question mark. That's it. Or update date greater than question mark. Okay. Control C. Just click it. Go it here. I'll just paste it here. So when I click question mark, automatically I'll get the parameters. Now here I'll select the value. We got one created, right? Last extract date time variable, user variable that I have created. So I'll just go here, select that last extract date time. That's it. You might have something somewhere here, last extract time. That's it. Okay, done. Now you are good. You will be getting only that many records. Now see it here, last extract date time, right? What is the thing here? Get last extract load date time. So we are getting the last extract load time. Currently we are having as 2014-0101, right? So whatever the records we inserted after that, you should get that records. So how many records I will be having now after inserting? Only 2 records I am having in the source, right? So it is the 2 records are after. So the 2 records are after 2014-0101. The 2 records are inserted after that. So you should get these 2 records. Now see it here. And after loading the data, this lookup table should be updated. We are having this lookup table, right? That lookup table, that this value should be updated with the current package execution time. With the current package. See now exactly. I'll just load 2 records here. See. Load into destination, now updated. Now you see that package execution time here. It was 2014-0101, right? Now it will change to the hour time. See. Oh, why it is saved like this? It has saved as null value. Why? Just go here. What is the type, the size we are given? Lookup table, yeah, we are given the varchar as 1000. Okay, done. In the update, we might have done some mistake. Let's see. Update set. Oh, sorry. Update last extract date time set value. Okay, we need to give the where condition also, but even though if you set, it should work. Parameter mapping varchar 0. It's an input. Start time. System dot start time. Yeah, we are given that. So yeah, start time. I think it's because of the varchar. Just give the different data type and see. Date will work. Date will
right, because
Yeah, Pooja, go ahead. Sorry, Shilpa.
Shilpa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, you had said varchar and you're trying to capture the system start date, so it should be date and time type, right?
Yeah, actually it should capture. That's why I thought that it is going to capture, because in the SQL Server, when is the varchar, you can insert anything in the varchar, it will accept. Okay, that's why I have given the varchar, but I think it might be the all issue. So I am just disabling the data flow task and executing this. Let's see the time. So now data will not be loaded. Let's say execute this one now. Yeah. Okay. So that is the, I think actually I expected it in the SQL Server when we insert the varchar. So actually it will accept, but here it is not accepting. So now what I did in the parameter mapping, just I have given the date. So whatever time the package executed, that date will be stored here, including the time. Okay. So now we are done. Just click OK. I'm just enabling now. Done. So now the package is, so the last extract date time is stored at this one. So now what I am going to do, go to the test database tables, there will be something called source, table name called source name, right click on this, edit top 200 rows. Now what I will do, update date is there, right? So I will just change the update date to 9/1, okay, it is a 20. So 9/1 means 21/01. Nine 9/1 means 21/01, that is the date time, done. That I am updating, it is after 9/1 means it is after our last extract date time. I am updating this record to C, or I will update to BB. And after this what I am going to do, I am going to insert one more record, 103. I will name it as something called CC. I will just copy this time, I will just paste the same time here. This is an inserted record, so I will just paste the same thing, Control C. Oh, we can't paste it, okay. 2014-08-12, it is, oh, yeah, since I have given default time, so it took a default time, nothing to worry about that, okay. So now if I run the package, now what should happen, what are the records got inserted or updated after this time, 21:00, right? So whichever records I got after 21:00, this is a record and this is a record, okay, after 9 o'clock. These are two records inserted after 9 o'clock. So I'll just getting these two records only. See now, I'll just get that two records now. So when I execute the package, just click on this, right click on this, enable data here. But one issue you are going to face is that you will be getting two records, okay. The two records will be inserted. The two records will be inserted. See, I got the two records. Actually, this BB, this ID 102 is already there, right? It should be updated. 102 is already there, so it should update. 103 is the new one, so it should insert. But currently, what is happening for me? I am inserting the two records into the destination. See here, I am just inserting the two records. So actually, it should not happen, right? If I will go here, I will just go here with this destination name. Select top 1000, that's it. See, actually I should not insert this record again, just I need to update the existing one, okay. So for this purpose, what normally we do, so whatever the records we are getting, we load the record into the, instead of loading the records into a destination table, we'll just load the records into one staging table, like temporary table. So what I'll do, whatever the structure I got here, the same table structure, it's a destination name, right? So I'll name something as staging, stg underscore staging, that's it. I'll have the same structure, create a staging destination, done. So now here, instead of inserting into the staging final table, I'll just insert into the staging destination, stg underscore destination name, right? That's it. So I'll just have the mappings, done. So I'll just insert that. After inserting values into there, so now whatever the records I get, that records will be inserted into the staging destination name, right? So staging destination name. So what I need to do now, I will write a merge command. Previously we discussed in the SQL Server, right? We use the merge command. So now I'll write a merge command. I'll just use a stored procedure and write a merge command. So how the merge command will be looking, it is a source staging stg. Where is stg one? Oh, deleted the table now. Okay, refresh it. Yeah, stg destination name. So whatever the data I get in the staging destination name, I need to update this table. So for that purpose, I'll just go write a merge command, create or so before going to that, I'll give an eye level description. So are you okay with this? Because if you are okay, then I'll continue with the other steps. So did you get my point? I can use this scenario when I want to insert, but if I get some records where I need to like update also, then what I'll be doing? So everyone is okay with this scenario up to now? Hello? Are you okay with this? Okay. So why I use a merge command is that, so can anyone say what is a merge command? Hello? 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 Shilpa?
Yeah, Master.
What is a merge command?
You're taking both the source data and the destination data and you're going to combine into one.
Okay.
So you're merging the data from the source into the destination.
Yeah. So for that purpose, I'll just use a merge command, merge, and after this, I'll give the target name, destination name. So the destination name will be dest underscore this name. I'll name it as something like target G or D. What will be my source? Using. My source table will be staging now. Okay. I explain the exact final scenario that you are going to use that. So I'll name it as S. On what condition I need to merge? D dot ID, right? We got some ID here. What is that ID? It is ID. So D dot ID equal to, let's say that ID is a primary key, S dot ID, done. After that, when matched, what I need to do? I need to update, set name equal to S dot name. After that, inserted date, because inserted date is not going to change, just I'll update the update change on update date equal to S dot update date, done. After this, it is a when matched. Then after this, what I am going to write? When not matched, not matched by target or not matched, both are same. Okay. So I'll just give not matched. Then when not matched, then what I want to do? I want to insert. Okay. So whatever I want, since I have given insert, I can write something like I can give the column names. How to give the like yeah, I'll give the name because I want to insert everything, right? ID comma name comma we got inserted date comma update date that's it, done. After this, I'll give the values. Values will be S dot ID. I'll just copy the above one and paste it and give the S dot, that's it. For each column name, I'll just give S dot, that's it, S dot, because it is a source one that we are inserting. S dot, that's it, done. So since it is a merge command, just give the code, that's it. And one more thing, what I'll be doing here is that I'll be creating a store procedure. Create procedure, I'll name it as merge dest source the name as, that's it, done. Now I'll just go here, go. Now I'll execute the store procedure. Execute the store procedure, done, that's it. Okay, so now what we do, before inserting the data into the staging, I'll just delete the data. Okay, so before inserting the data into the staging, I'll just truncate the staging table. So how to truncate it? Because it will have the, when you again insert the data, you might have the duplicate records, right? So I'll just truncate the table. I'll just it as truncate table, staging table, truncate staging table. Here you can see the connection. I'll just give the connection test, and I will write it as truncate table, that command name, truncate table. I'll just go here, copy the table name. What is the table name here? It is, this is the table name that we want to truncate before inserting. Control C, done. Okay, execute it. Now if I execute, automatically, because there is no record, so you will not be getting any record here when you go to the data flow task, because already we had loaded after that, right? So for that purpose, what I will do, I'll just go to the lookup table and insert some old data now. So this is a lookup table that I am having, right? So I'll just update it. Update. Our table name is last extract time. Set value equal to 2014-01-01 00. That's it. I'll just update with this date. So now you will be having the data. Okay. So one more thing, what I will do, I'll just, because already we got some data into the destination table, right? I'll truncate that data also. So this is a destination table name. Truncate table. I'll give it as the destination table name. That's it. So now see, we got 3 records in the source. Now the 3 records should come here. See here. Oh, sometime my package will stop here somewhere. Yeah. So I got the 3 records now. See, and first what happens? I'll truncate the staging table, and now the 3 records will be loading into the staging table. So I'll write it as something DFT load staging table. That's it. And after this, okay, one more thing, I use the data, I loaded the data into the staging, but I need to merge with the destination, right? So how to merge? I have created the store procedure here. So now you should execute the store procedure in the execute SQL task. Sorry, I forgot that. So after the loading the data into the staging, now you will merge the staging data with the destination table. So in order to execute the store procedure, the same way, just connect here. I'll write it as ESQL merge destination name table. That's it. So here I'll just connect to the database where I created the store procedure, and here I'll go and execute it, EXEC, and the store procedure name. That's it, done. Now because since I didn't do anything, now when I do the top 1000 rows in the destination table, you will not be having any records now. You will not have any records. But now if I run, then I'll have that record. See. So I have executed. So you will be having the 3 records, done. Oh, actually there's one more issue, is that actually last time we loaded, right? So the time is not updated. So I need to update the time to this one. Execute it. Now done. So now if I run, I'll get the 3 records now, and the 3 records will be inserted into a destination. See now. See, I got 3 records. I'll just click close. After, see, if you don't close this, then the package will not stop. It will just be in the waiting process. So either you need to give this pause button or detach. When you give this play button, it will go to the next records. Okay, so better detach, or you can close. When you close, then it will go to the next step. So now it is gone, and you can see all the steps got. Okay, yeah. See, one more thing I didn't did the execute that one in the connection way. Actually, I need to execute this last extract data at the end of the execution, right? So again, I'll update it. Update it. I'll just delete the source data, truncate destination name, done. Now I'll rerun the package. Now if you see the destination data, there is destination name, there is no data now. Now I'll run the package because there is no, when I give this way, what happens? When the package started, immediately this one also will execute. Okay, this one also will execute. So what is the case here? If my package started and this last extract date time is also updated, so what happens? Let's say the package failed here, but even though the package failed, but this last extract date time has been updated. This should update when the package is successfully completed. So that's why you'll give the steps at the end. Now if I run this package, so automatically first it will truncate, it will get the last extract time. After that it will truncate the table. After truncating the table, it will load the data into the table. After loading the data into the table, it will merge the data from the table to the destination table. That's it. And after that you are updating the last extract date time. Now you see, when I see, I'll get the 3 records. So now we'll check that source one where we got that issue, right? When we updated the record, previously we got duplicate records, right? Now see, I'll just update to DD or CCC, 3 CCCs, and I'll just change the updated time to something. It's a 9:17, right? So it is a 21. I'll just give 18, 21, 18. So 9:18 time, done. I'll add one more record, 104, and here I'll add one more record called DDD. I'll just not give anything, just close it. Now if I see the select top 1000 rows, now what happens? I'll be getting 2 records. This is the record which I updated after the last load time. This is a record which I have inserted now. Okay, so when I run the package, I should get these 2 records, CC and DD, and at the same time 103 is already there in the destination, so it should update. 104 is not there, so it should insert. Now see the destination data, the 103 is CC, but in the source you got the data as CCC. So now when I run the package, this CCC should update and this DDD should insert. At the same time, from the source, instead of getting these 4 records, I should get only the record which I updated, and I should get the record which I have inserted. So just stop it. Now I rerun the package again. So now you will be getting 2 records in the data flow task. See here, this record and this record. I'll just close this here. Now see, when I go to the data flow task and when I execute the destination name, so automatically the CC should become CCC. See, DD. That's it. And here, how many records you got from this one? When I see the data flow task, you just got only 2 records. Instead of getting all the 4 records, you just got 2 records which are need to be inserted and updated. And one more thing is that don't worry about this name. You might be thinking like, who will, in the real time scenario, who will be updating this insert and update date? So basically in the companies, the person who is dealing with the table, you will be informing, or they will have some standard to always update and insert this date time. So your task is that just you can go and get them. Suppose if you don't have this one, the only way you need to do is that just truncate and load. That is the one way. Or the other way is that get the data, see whether the data is there in the destination or not. If it is not there, then update. If it is not there, then insert. If it is there, then update. That is the thing you are going to do. Okay, we are going to see step by step again. So what I did, first I am getting the last extract date time. After getting the last extract date time, I am truncating the temp table, because I will be loading that whatever the data I get, I load into one temp table. So I can call it as staging table also, where I keep data for some time. It's just a normal logic name that we call in the BI Tech terminology. I'll just load the data into the staging. So I'll truncate the table, and after truncating, I'll just load the data into the staging, because this staging tables will come the updated records, and it will also come the new records. So after that, I'll just merge the staging data with the final table. If the data is there already there in the final destination, just update it. If the data is not there, then insert it. And after this, once I am done, I am updating this package start time to this here. Okay, I am updating this package start time, stating, so whenever I run the next time, so I will be getting this time as a last extract date time. So for this purpose, I am updating it. So everyone is clear with this? Hello?
Bhaskar, can't we do this with trigger instead of doing so many steps? steps?
So how you are going to do a trigger?
I mean, if updated, I mean the updated will be there. I mean, catch that in the variable and
Yeah.
then the destination table, whatever you got. I mean, can't you transfer it like that?
I got a Oracle table which is located in somewhere in India server. Okay, I got an table in US SQL table. So how much time does it take by using the trigger? And one more thing, the trigger is so when you insert the data into the trigger, into a table, so this table has a trigger. So what happens? Trigger is a highly performance issue. So normally you might be seeing when you create a table in the trigger, so the value, let's say I will create a trigger for insert and update. Okay, I have created trigger for, let's say I have created trigger for update. So what happens when I create a trigger for update? First, the value you will be updating. Let's say it is a for update trigger. It is a for update trigger. So when I insert the values into this table, so what's happening? So suppose when I update a record, the record is ID 1 comma A. I update it to B. So okay, first it will update in the source. At the same time, there will be two magic tables created, inserted and deleted. So this inserted table will have the 1B, deleted table will have the 1A. So like you are doing two operations, right? 2 plus 1. So totally you are doing 3 operations instead of doing 1 operation. So on the table, if you are using if you are inserting millions of records, because the trigger does record by record. Okay, for each record it is going to do everything. So because of that, the trigger will be very slow. You can use the trigger only when they are like few records. If the table is having like 2 to 3 records, and only very rarely they might update the data. So in that scenario you can use a trigger, but not when you have some millions of data. Then using a trigger is not a suggestible way, because it is a performance issue. So this is the thing, if I have the data in India and if I have like in SQL in US, that is a SQL server, then now if you create a trigger, because the servers are located distance, then you need to pass this way and get it right. It is again waste of time. That is the one scenario. Other scenario is that trigger, when you create a trigger, the operation will be slow. If there are few records, then you can do, but if you have multiple millions of records, you can't do by using a trigger. Did you get my point, Shilpa? Hello?
Yes, Bhaskar.
Yeah. So this is the incremental one that you need to do, and basically in the company